want to know which planet was causing your suffering? How about Earth?
Hey everyone, myaaniflakes here, back with a new Slay the Spire 2 video. Before I show you guys the true output and the ending result of this thumbnail and title, or rather the thumbnail and title, I want to go through how to make this build really quickly in case you're curious about how to replicate this and experiencing the joy of going literally infinite for yourselves. The main thing with the Silent is that I think in the original game, she had two archetypes. I played the board game, never the original, but I remember during the board game, I had a lot of cycling, and there was also like shivs and poison, which were really cool. But in this new era of Slay the Spire, they have introduced the keyword Sly. And that's a really big deal because these cards activate and play themselves if they're discarded, and that introduces some very crazy mechanics. And the main issue with this build is that it is technically quite inconsistent. Thankfully, this is a infinitely cyclable roguelike game, so you can keep starting your runs and failing and going until you find it. And that might take some time, but I don't think Shiv and Poison are good on the Silent right now. Like, I've tried it a few times, I've always failed way before even getting to Act 3, which might be a skill issue. Probably is, obviously. But with this cycling build, as you can see on the screen earlier, I did make it to Ascension 5. And I know that it gets harder and harder as you go up, but knowing that the Shiv and Poison build can't even make it to, or like through Ascension 0 for a person of my skill, this will be what I'm going for in the future. And realistically, there'll always a setup. For the early game, you are going to want something that thins your deck, maybe something that gives you an upgrade. I do truly think that the starting card for the Silent, Neutralize, is a really good option for an early upgrade because it extends the weak by a turn, which allows you to save a lot of damage in the long run, especially when you're trying to get through the early game. And Silent's early game is pretty poor in my opinion. The main trick with the Silent, with my experience with this build, is that you skip everything except for high value Sly or draw cards. So this ends up meaning that you don't even take zero cost cards like Slice. You don't take things like Anticipate unless you think you can find a way to make them work. Instead, the cards you take are going to be things like Flick Flack, which allows you to do AoE to all enemies, and it's very cheap. Things like Ricochet, which gives you much needed damage for single targets, and then things like Prepared and Acrobatics, which are very, very powerful draw cards for your character. Like, everything I'm not mousing over, or not talking about in particular detail, are also things I don't think you take. Like, you don't even take Dagger Throw because you'd rather spend the mana that you play Dagger Throw on another Acrobatics. And that's really important because you only have so much energy to spend each turn, and you want to be spending that on Acrobatics so you can draw into your next Sly card, so you can get more value out of that Sly card, because obviously drawing is really important in every card game. Essentially, like, everything that gives you Sly and a good value is going to be a take. And I think you realistically only take 1 or 2 copies at most of these lower value cards, just because, again, with thinning your deck, that means you can get access to these much more easily. And also having a very thin deck means you can access the infinite loop like I did at the end of my last run. So stuff like Untouchable, really, really good, because obviously in the early game, you're not going infinite, so you will take damage, and having literally a free 9 block for drawing your cards through Acrobatics is going to be really important. Something like Strangle I think is okay, but I think Strangle ends up being like a stopgap to get through Act 1 boss, because a lot of the time you might draw Strangle late and it's useless. You might draw Strangle early with no card draw, and it ends up feeling pretty weak, but it is a nice high roll card to get if you do have access to it, or you do get offered it early. Calculate Gamble is really good in terms of just like cycling your, like, again, if you low roll, like you play Strangle and then you have nothing else, you can play Calculate Gamble and attempt to draw into your Acrobatics and other cards. But the main real power cards, I would say, for the Silent are going to be things like Tactician. Tactician gives you AP, which then lets you replay your extra Acrobatics later on. Stuff like Speedster is it's not an infinite high roll version, but it definitely gets you through a lot of the content. You do spend a few turns and you do like end up getting hit a few times, but being able to draw a lot means that Speedster will stack up very, very quickly. And in the more scuffed runs where you're not trying to go for like a super high roll scenario, this will be the card you have to take, because unfortunately the highest high roll card for this build is going to be Corrosive Wave, which allows you to stack a lot of poison for free. Something like Murder is also quite good. Unfortunately, my infinite build didn't get Murder, so I couldn't track how many cards I had drawn in one combat. But you can imagine, like, if you're cycling like just 30 cards in one turn, Murder scales very, very quickly, and by like turn 5, no boss is really going to let you, or no boss is going to be able to survive you slamming like 100 damage into them turn over turn. And there are a few other cards that are pretty good, like obviously Abrasive is good for the mid game, but realistically the only cards you don't you skip everything besides the good cards, and then you just keep re-rolling your run until you find a good setup that allows you to push past the Act 1 boss, so they have a chance of getting Corrosive Wave, and then at some point you snowball, and the game kind of plays itself, because you do need to actually make decisions, and there is a lot of skill, in my opinion, on making this deck work before the true infinite, and even on the infinite itself, you can make mistakes with discarding, or like prioritizing what cards you want to play later, and it's really fun. This is probably the most fun I've ever had playing a roguelike card game, which is not surprising considering it's Slay the Spire 2. And I hope you guys enjoy seeing my reaction to knowing that I'm going infinite and then the final hit itself. I'll see you guys next time and enjoy the video. Corrosive Wave, nice. Alright, I should have the bullshit now. I have everything I need. Now it just comes down to card draw for a while until I get everything else that's useful. I have sustain, I have damage. I just need consistency, which mostly comes through having AP. So I need to get an AP source. That's Tactician. I can damage this. If I get Corrosive Wave, I can continue going. Maybe I should have done a better game there. Pop this before. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this run's unlosable unless I get some really, really bad RNG. Guy's already at 26. Let's go over. You can really tell the quality difference when I hit everything and when I don't hit everything. Acceleron's going to be even better for maximizing damage. Gonna pop this early. Okay, I need to play Acrobatics first. I need to go card positive first. Where was he coming from? Yeah, we still don't know where it was coming from. I never found out. I genuinely never found out where it was coming from. I think I think it's actually infinite. I've hit true infinite. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I actually ran out! Wait! There's a world I ran out! I ran out! Wait, it's not infinite! I actually ran out of draw! All my card draw ended up on the bottom for once. Noob? Wait, I didn't think it was gonna matter. Oh, come on, man. It wasn't infinite. That was the first fight of Act 3. I spent 20 minutes on the first fight of Act 3 because I could. Oh. I may be committing, I found like an infinite loop. I mean, it requires a lot of manual playing, but I found an infinite loop that like kills everything turn 1. Like, literally no matter what. I think card limiting kills it, actually. But yeah. When you play a skill, it gains Sly. What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? I know exactly what I'm doing. Why am I doing it? Why doesn't anyone stop me from my ideas? Actually, can anyone stop me from my ideas? That's probably the better question. No. No one's ever bothered because no, everyone figures they can't stop me. You're a demon unleashed. Definitely not inaccurate in this scenario. The Plague Devil. Wait, you're right. I mean, I probably should have realized this earlier. I'm literally cosplaying Twitch right now. Why is the energy the first thing you noticed? Out of all of the, out of everything on the screen that would have shocked you, why is the energy the one that's surprising? I just saw the place. Yeah, I might have a problem. And the problem might be the infinite scaling part of this game. creating infinites is intended, it's just harder and harder to... It just becomes harder and harder as the sessions go up, and it becomes harder for stuff. I think that's the... I do agree on the idea that it's harder and harder to force, or harder and harder to force. But I feel like with this type of character and this type of deck, like, knowing that this is, or in my opinion rather, feeling like this is the best deck for Silent in terms of early game progression and finishing the run. I feel like this is not, like, I feel like infinites are probably something you high roll into because you took a risk. But this is not me risking anything, this is just me playing what I'm supposed to play to actually win out on Silent. And it's happening into, like, enough deck thinning and the correct draw, or, like, correct upgrades, right? So, like, even if I go higher and higher in Ascensions, there is a very high chance that I still naturally play this type of infinite because of the fact that in order to even succeed as, in this version at least, in order to even succeed at this version of Silent, I need to play this exact deck archetype. Like, I just be playing, instead of these two shield cards, I just be stacking another poison. Yeah, so I think this infinite might not be intentional because it's like too easy. Which is kind of crazy to say. I mean, it's not that easy, but it is, I think, too easy. Ironically enough, because yeah, you're already going for a thin deck. You're already trying to play for poison to do damage. You're already playing for all this other stuff. So why would you not naturally run into this build? There's a very high chance I might be the first person to find this build. I might just be the first content creator to post it at this rate. Whatever. And do we keep going? Do we keep going? Hey, Sutton. I'm gonna hit 10 hours. I'm at 1,000. Further beyond! I've done 0 damage to this boss. It's literally all in the... Oh my god. Who's there? So funny, it's so funny. Okay, let's finish this run. Let's end this run that should have ended in over 2 hours ago. Oh my god. Oh my god. I could be eating dinner. I could have eaten dinner. I could have made a video. I could have done like 15 things. But no, I just had to go infinite, stack over 1 million poison for fun. And I enjoyed it. I did enjoy my time. Yeah, exactly. It's a body break, so it still shows up. It's so funny. It was so worth it, though. It was so worth it. It was so worth it. As you doing to the boss? Yeah. As if it's any better in a scenario where I have it at over 1 million. Oh my god. Dude, I wish I had the freaking murder card, because murder would have literally been like 100,000 damage. Would it have been? Yeah, I think murder would have been 100,000. I probably drew over 100,000 cards. Is that true? Maybe like 500, maybe like 50k. Oh no. Maybe like, yeah, I probably drew like 50,000 cards. Like, that was what I was missing. I was missing a murder. That's all he needed. To like really have the beauty really pop off. I need a murder active. What a glorious run. What a glorious run. I could probably kill this guy. There is a reality where I did more damage than 3 billion. I could have killed the architect. I could have killed him. Let me at him.